Teddy Covers. Teddy Covers coming to us live from Las Vegas, Nevada. Teddy Covers, how are you doing on this Tuesday morning?
I'm frustrated, Jimmy. All I've done for the last week is throw out winners and play losers. I mean, what did I do last night? Oh, I leaned to the Bulls. Oh, I leaned to the Suns. Oh, I leaned to the Seahawks. Oh, I leaned to the over. Did I play any of them? No. What'd I play? Utah. What'd they do? Get their asses kicked, then almost cover at the end and then not get there. So I'm in a frustrated mood. Almost played Miami. I'm like, oh, yeah, I like Miami plus the points against Illinois. Couldn't be righter. Did I make any money off it? No. So I'm frustrated today. How about you?
It was an awful start of the week here, start of the month here. It was very, very rough. I did play the Bulls, but first quarter money line, they lose 23-22 in the first quarter. It's just very upsetting start. But I have fired a ton of shots. We have a huge card here, and very interested to hear how you're handling the National Basketball Association. We've already had some questions come in. We're going to start with NBA, though, with Teddy Covers. What do you think? Have you got to the window on any of these spots?
So I just went against the game you were just talking about. I'm on the Blazers plus tonight. And there's two thought processes involved in this. One is I hate this spot for the Clippers. I mean, this is a true hate spot. They're coming off a game in which they scored 150 points and everything was falling. They have the Bucks on deck, you know, and that's not a bet on spot in my opinion. Especially every quote is our defense is there, our offense is going to be hit or miss. And if you look at the clips over the last 2 weeks since Paul George has been back, you know, laying points hasn't been their role. Laying bigger points hasn't been their role. And they're coming off a big blowout over, you know, where every shot was falling against the Wiz. So I don't like this spot here at all for the Clips. And you know what? When Whiteside is blocking shots and playing defense, Portland's bet on. This is a team that made the Western Conference Finals last year. They got off to a rotten start. Everything went wrong. No betting bandwagon. All right. Injuries galore in the front court. They pick up Melo. They get a spark. They win 3 in a row. They don't cover all 3, so the betting bandwagon doesn't grow. Whiteside's playing D. You look at their defensive numbers the last 5 games, night and day for Portland compared to where they were a month ago, where they were 2 weeks ago. So I got a little buy sign on the Blazers, and that means I'm catching. I'm going to bet them plus 9. Plus 9.5 is available. And I understand the case for the other side. The Clips are better than the Blazers. I don't disagree. But the spot and the general, now is my time to buy on Portland when they're playing defense. Those two factors combined put me on the Blazers plus the point. There were a bunch of games I threw out, and all the stuff I'm throwing out is winning, all the stuff I'm playing is losing. Unfortunately, I'm laughing about it, but you know that's what gets you frustrated. And I'm not a guy that's volume and I'm firing away. I like to pick and choose my spots, and if I'd have been firing away, I've done a lot better the last week than I had picking and choosing my spots. So, I mean, I thought about Dallas and talked myself out of that one. I thought about Houston and talked myself out of that one. I thought about Denver and talked myself out of that one. So I did have 3 other leans, but the only one I actually bet was the Blazers plus the points.
Well, Russell Gordy and Poker Addicted 79, 2 great cappers in our chat, are with you on this look with the Blazers. I'm on the Clippers first half, a little less confident. Lanil says Whiteside is great. I'd like to see him today. I don't trust Whiteside. I just don't trust him. I don't trust him to play consistent at that level. But he was awesome. He franchise record in blocks last game, and Carmelo feeling good about himself. They don't get distribution from Lillard, but that's been a long time issue. Cap and Tap says Whiteside had blocks last game, but he plays no defense other than that. Deshaun also. So we have Deshaun on Portland full game with you. Fanny Pack Gangster says, I'm with Teddy. 9 is too much for the Clippers. Wow, so you got a lot of people backing this spot. Okay, there is the NBA broke down by Junior Brown and Teddy Covers. Teddy, we have questions coming in NCAA basketball. So why don't we start there? And where is it? I believe I copied and pasted it, but I thought I copied and pasted it. I can't Oh, yes, backdoor cover. Backdoor cover. So let's move over to NCAA basketball here NCAA basketball on the best odds page on the planet at sportsbookreview.com, SBR odds page, and move to spreads and totals. And some marquee games on this card. And the one that is being asked about is fourth-ranked Michigan, unranked before their big tourney win last week, against number one ranked Louisville. Louisville opening up at -6.5, now 5.5. His total opening up at 141, now 139.5. Backdoor cover. Wondering what you think about this home favorite in Louisville.
So I made 2 bets in college hoops tonight. One of them was Louisville, and there were 5. They're actually 4.5, and I missed a 4.5, but I thought 5 was really cheap. Of course we bet against Michigan here, okay? Wolverines just had the tournament of their lives in the Bahamas, all right? Played great. Shot lights out. Closed out with Gonzaga. They hit, 12 of 23 from three-point range, 54% shooting for the game. Brilliant. All right, well, you should have gone straight home. You don't want to stop at the Yum Center first. First true road game of the season for the Wolverines. They're coming off, and everything went right. And Louisville's not getting any respect. Louisville's the number 1 team in the country for a reason, all right? Their defense is sick. And Michigan ain't hitting 12 of 23 from three-point range tonight. I thought it was cheap. I thought the opener of 7.5 was cheap. And Michigan's got a bandwagon now. Oh, look at the Wolverines, Nah, not tonight. They might be my alma mater, but I have no problems fading them. I faded them against Louisville when Louisville won the national title against them, and I'll fade them again tonight. Yum Center. That's going to be tough for the Wolverines. Again, I give them credit for what they've done, but at this moment, Michigan, to me, is an overvalued commodity, a clear overvalued commodity. I do not think they can maintain their level of play. Louisville or pass for this better.
All right. Big game, and Louisville being backed by Teddy Covers. What's the second game that you got to the window with?
I played UTEP against New Mexico State. New Mexico State can't be laying, dude. Let me get the betting number on that for you. Sorry. Yeah, betting number 791. UTEP plus 4.5. There may be 5s out there. I put 4.5 in my pocket. This is a situation, fierce rivalry. Okay, they played twice. They've already played once already, and UTEP beat them by 15. And now they're saying, well, this game's going to be in Las Cruces, so it's all going to be different. No, it isn't. Aggies can't be laying here. I took UTEP plus the points.
UTEP plus the points and Louisville on Teddy Covers' card. Matt Randall's taint play today is Valpo plus 3. He's also on North Dakota State plus 5.5, Detroit plus 13.5, Boston College -2, Oakland Western Michigan over 128, Illinois State plus 13.5, App State Arkansas under 143.5, and Iowa plus 4. Ganjapreneur is on Austin P, Arkansas under 139, Creighton -7.5 first half and -13 full game, Chattanooga plus 5, Western Kentucky -3. Poker Addicted also liking Louisville first half. There you have it. There's NCAA basketball in the books. Let's move over to NCAA football. The first look that you have on your card so far is Central Michigan, a team that you've backed with great success so far this year. Have you gotten to the window with anything else at this point?
I haven't, and I haven't even really been that close. We're gonna work college football today and tomorrow and see if we come up with. But right now, I can tell you where I'm leaning, but I haven't pulled any triggers other than Central Michigan -6.5. And is that still out there? That 6.5? Let me check that SPR live odds page, which everybody should have up all day long because it's just good. And 6.5s are still available. More here in Vegas than offshore, but you can still find 6.5s. Jersey's got them more in the States than in CR. But yeah, Central to me was a no-brainer. I've got other leans, but I really haven't pulled. I haven't made another bet other than the Chippewas yet. But we can talk about any game you want, and I'll tell you which way I'm leaning.
Well, let's talk about the games where we've seen giant market moves. This Wisconsin total has moved 4.5 points to the over at Pinnacle. Opened at 52.5, now at 57. It's also moved 2 points towards Wisconsin. Opened at 17.5, now 15.5. Do you agree with those market moves?
I certainly don't agree with any Wisconsin money. These two teams in the last 15 seasons have played 11 times. Ohio State's 10-1 straight up, 9-2 ATS in those games. All right, they've absolutely dominated the series. What's different this year? Tell me what's different. Is Wisconsin better than they were? No, Wisconsin's in the same range that they've been for the last 15 years, which is top 20 program. They are, 15 to 20 in the country. No problem with that. That's what Wisconsin is. They have an okay quarterback. They've got a strong running game. They've got a solid defense. It's exactly like every Wisconsin team we've seen for the last 15 years. Ohio State is at a different level, okay? They're not a top 15 or top 20 squad. They're a top 5 squad, and they have been. And the program is playing angry every week, okay? And the Buckeyes lose here. Maybe they don't go. They probably don't go to the playoffs. There's no letting off the gas pedal for Ohio State. And we've seen that over and over and over again. So I can understand the over money. I don't want any part of the dog in this one. It's Buckeyes or pass for this better.
Buckeyes or pass from our guy Teddy Covers. Next up, Gondrepreneur says, Teddy, how do you like the Oregon under? Man, it's been smashed. Opened at 51. Pinnacle's brought it down to 47.5. Bookmaker Bet365 are down to 45.5. Do you agree with this move towards the under?
My initial lean was towards the under. I wouldn't pay the under at this price. Not even maybe. Of course, we're talking about two teams that are very good defensively. And the under Utah's defense isn't underrated. Oregon's defense was certainly an underrated commodity for extended stretches this season. And they played great down the stretch. So I can understand the under money. And Utah, all they want to do is shorten the game, long, slow, methodical drives. This isn't a Utes team that's all about the big play touchdowns. And there's I think there was some modest correlation between Utah and under from the get-go. But again, this total hasn't just been bet down. It's been pounded down. And both teams can score on defense. Both teams can score on special teams. We have seen more than a handful of big plays for touchdowns from Oregon, and Utah gets theirs, everyone. It's not like that never happens for the Utes. So, at the current number, I no longer recommend the under. You've missed it, and that's one that you got to leave. But certainly off the opener, I wouldn't have talked to you anyway. Sidewise, I'm not stepping in front of Utah. It's there's a good handful of favorites. I'm like, favorite or pass. This is one of them. It's worth a lot of money potentially worth a lot of money for the Pac-12 to have the Utes win this ball game and win it convincingly.
I like it. Nice work, Gondrepreneur, grabbing it at 50. Great job. We have questions coming in. The next one from Chris Sanitate says, please ask Teddy his thoughts on Boise State and who will be their quarterback and how will it affect the game. Rotation number 115, 116, Hawaii, Boise State. 19th ranked Boise State opening up at 14.5 point favorites. Now 13.5. This total opened up at 64, and it's either there or 64.5. What do you think about Chris's question about who will be their quarterback and how will it affect the game?
So I believe that Bachmeier will be sitting this week. That's what the reports that I read have him listed as doubtful or not likely to get into play. But honestly, Chase Cord has been solid, okay? He's not Bachmeier. He didn't win the job, but it's not like there's a huge drop-off. And the markets are saying a point or two worth of difference for Boise without Bachmeier behind QB. And I don't disagree with that assessment. He's worth a couple of points. That's a really hard game for me, flat out, because I think Hawaii's defense is a lot better than it was earlier in the season, and the results down the stretch showed it. That team played defense in a way that they couldn't earlier in the season. So season-long numbers for Hawaii are not telling, in my opinion, the true story of that D, and that D's a whole lot better than it was. Of course, the game's going to be played in Boise in December, not exactly Hawaii weather, and for as good as their defense has been, Hawaii's not chucking the football around and scoring touchdowns in bunches on offense. They're not hanging around and covering in this ballgame. It's not one I'm likely to play. I don't know that I'm going to step in front of Hawaii. They've been a good point spread team. They've been moneymakers on the road. And the first meeting against Boise was all Hawaii mistakes. For as much as Boise, put up big numbers in that game, Hawaii turned it over and over again in that game. Bad turnovers in their own territory and let Boise get the lead, and it was a run out thereafter. I don't know if that happens twice. I'm not convinced I want to step in front of Hawaii, but at the same time, I'm not convinced they can hang. It's a clear pass for me. That's not one I expect to get involved with.
All right. It is a very interesting game. We have questions coming in. Next from Kevin Taylor. He has jumped on Georgia. We spoke of this big game yesterday. You've had 24 more hours to sit on it. 4th-ranked Georgia, number 1-ranked LSU. What do you think about Kevin backing Georgia here, plus the points?
So that's my initial lean. Yesterday I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with this game. My initial lean is definitely Georgia plus. I don't know that I'm going to get there with Georgia plus. I believe in Georgia's defense. They haven't really seen a lot of explosive offenses this year. They really haven't. The best offense they face is what, Notre Dame? Which is a good offense, but it's not LSU's offense. That said, it's a neutral field setting. It's a Georgia defense that is absolutely elite. And you ask me which of these two teams potentially offers value at this stage of the season, and it's only Georgia. All right, the books have gotten crushed with LSU money. The teams that have hurt the books the worst over the course of the last 2 months. Ohio State's been number 1, but Clemson's been repeatedly bad for bookmakers, as has LSU. So those are all teams where you're getting notched up in terms of a power rating week after week. It's just getting higher and higher. Now, I talked about I'm not stepping in front of that Ohio State, Wisconsin, saying this has been a series that's been completely dominated by one team, and that one team is as good or better than any recent version, and Wisconsin's just like where they've been. This isn't that. All right, these are two programs that have been not on different planes. I respect LSU, but I believe in Georgia's defense. I think that's the way I'm leaning.
Believing in Georgia's defense. A lot of questions coming in and a lot of comments on that big spot. Kevin Taylor liking his spot with Georgia. Reese says Georgia's offensively challenged and LSU can get points on anybody. The next question comes in from Vincent Hawkins. Vincent Hawkins wondering if you think Florida Atlantic can cover against UAB, rotation number 111, 112, Florida Atlantic at -7.5. That's where it stands. This total stuck at 50. Can FAU get the job done this week, Teddy?
So my initial lean was definitely towards Florida Atlantic. The more I've looked at it, I'm probably not going to get there. And it comes down to the simple fundamental handicap of, can FAU stop what UAB wants to do, which is ground and pound? The Blazers are a team with QB concerns. And I know we saw, Tyler Johnson make a brief appearance last week. I'm still not convinced he's anywhere near 100%. And, Dylan Hopkins hasn't made mistakes. He's been serviceable. He's got to make plays this week. All right, they need plays from the QB position for UAB. But at the same time, when I hesitate betting against Bill Clark in big games. Okay, he's been really good. And I look at UAB and their ability to move the ball on the ground, control clock. That's why they're here. And you look at the games where Florida Atlantic's had trouble, it's been against teams like UAB. So, I can picture a scenario in which Florida Atlantic rolls this team. I do think they're a good notch or two better than UAB. But UAB's been feisty. They've been repeatedly feisty. I don't know. It's not. I'm kind of going back and forth as I'm talking on a game I'm likely to play.
Our guy Canascat says Cincy might beat Memphis this time. They are a bargain at plus 9.5, and Pinnacle has gone ahead and moved it to 8.5, while all the other books are at 9.5. Excuse me, you wager is at 9. What do you think of 21st ranked Cincinnati as a big dog this weekend?
I agree wholeheartedly. My lean is towards Cincy. Cincy's on the short list. If I'm playing the game, it'll be the Bearcats plus the points. And again, Memphis has lost this game each of the last 2 years, and that does concern me. They're home. They're at a team that's not going to trade points with them. Tigers' defense has been pretty good. I think you talk about the underrated aspect of Memphis. That's it. But head coach is taking phone calls and fielding offers. He's not going to be there. And the players know it, and that can be a huge distraction. And the fact that they've lost these games, when you have a team that's been there and lost, and now they're here this time number 3, you're like, all right, this time's right. I mean, how many times do we see they've been there and lost, and guess what? Now you're thinking about it, and you've been there and lost again. I believe in Cincy's defense. Okay, I'm a Cincy believer in general, and their statistical profile is not overwhelming. Hence the generous points. I lean Cincy. I really do. But again, I haven't bet it yet. I haven't gone to the window. I'm not convinced that I will. But that's the only way I would play it.
And it is being backed by cappers in the chat as well. Okay, next question comes from Paul Costa. It says, please ask Teddy if he prefers either flat betting or unit betting 1% to 5% for long-term success, and why?
That's a great question. I appreciate it. And I also polite. Please say, God damn it, ask Teddy something. I appreciate the question. I appreciate the politeness involved in asking. When I moved to Vegas, I'm going to tell a story, so you'll have to indulge me for a minute. When I moved to Vegas, my thought process was, and it's my mentality also. I've always been kind of a grinder. And I'm like, you straight bet, you flat bet, you pick more winners than losers, you're going to make money. Which is all true. And I used that philosophy and strategy my first few years in town. There's one particular game that caused me to change that strategy. All right. I can tell you the game. I remember it. It was Steve Spurrier's first game as the head coach of the Washington Redskins. It was a preseason game. The game was being played in Tokyo. The opening line the game was in Tokyo against the San Francisco 49ers. Niners were a playoff team. Redskins stunk. Mariucci was not a preseason guy in general. And the line opened San Fran -3. And I'm reading the quotes, and Spurs like, we're coming to play. We want to win every game. And Mariucci's like, yeah, we've got trips planned to the Kyoto Gardens. And, there was no interest in the game from one side and full interest in the game from the other side. And the line opened San Fran -3. So I straight bet it and flat bet it like I always do. And the line closes Washington -3. And the Redskins win. I think it was 38-7. It wasn't that close. The game was over in the first quarter. It was a really obvious good bet. And I didn't take advantage of it. And talking to my friends, talking to my colleagues at the time, they're like, look, dude, when you see something good, you're allowed to step up. You're supposed to step up. When you see something really good, you're allowed to step up even more. That being said, a 1-5 spread is too great. You ask me what my big wagers are, my biggest wagers, they're going to be 2.5 or 3 times my standard size wager. So I personally wouldn't have that big of a spread. But when you see something good and you know what's going on, it's not like, oh, I kind of think this, oh, I like that team. When you're doing the work and you see something good, yeah, you're allowed to step up. You're allowed to step up significantly. When it comes to straight betting, that's a whole nother discussion. I don't want forever. Ask me back if you want me to talk straight betting versus not straight betting. But in general, bettors will be suited to straight bet a lot more than they do and parlay bet a lot less than they do. But I do believe that a parlay, especially the two-teamers and long shot money line parlays, that I accept both of as a piece of your overall wagering equation. But in general, it's got to be much more straight bets
than
parlays.
That was a fascinating answer. Great stuff. Great question. Great answer. Let's move to the National Football League now. Let's move to NFL and get our first talk about this Thursday nighter. Cowboys, Bears. Cowboys 2.5-point road dogs. Bookmakers favorite, Cowboys 2.5-point road favorites. Bookmaker has moved it to 3. This total opened up at 43.5. It's now at 43. And BetOnline's moved it down to 42.5. What do you think about this Thursday nighter? Have you made a move? Do you have any leans?
I know I'm not laying with Dallas. All right. I'm not. I'm unlikely to play the game. Okay. But we keep saying, well, someone's going to step up in the NFC East. Someone's going to step up in the NFC East. Not yet. Nobody. Hasn't happened yet. The Cowboys' wins this year have come against the Giants, the Redskins, the Dolphins, the Eagles on a bad day, the Giants again, and Detroit. Okay? Not even a team as good as Chicago. Not one. So I know I can't lay points with Dallas here. And 3? I mean, at 3, I'm not excited about taking the Bears against a good team either. But my number here is pick 'em. You know, Dallas does not merit the road favorite role, in my opinion, to be a Chicago or pass.
I agree. I absolutely agree about backing the Bears here. Who wins the NFC East in your estimation?
I don't know. Dallas wins the NFC East. What we saw from Philly last week was stick a fork in them worthy. And at this stage, I can't trust the Eagles to beat the 2-win teams. I still trust Dallas to beat the 2-win teams. Hence, I would say that I'd rather have Dallas and Philly in the division right now.
That makes sense. Speaking of the Eagles, they're 8.5-point favorites at home in the Monday nighter against the Giants. That's moved to 9 at Bookmaker, BetOnline, and Bovada. Is this a spot where do the Eagles bounce back at home? Do the Giants have value at 8.5 or 9?
The Eagles just lost back-to-back home games. The Giants are losing the turnover battle every week. And when you're playing Philly and that defense, it's hard to lose the turnover battle because the Eagles secondary was atrocious in the loss to Miami. There's no sugarcoating it, okay? There wasn't, to say they weren't making plays isn't strong enough. They were getting beat every play, okay? When you're getting beat every play, that's not a team I'm laying more than a touchdown with. And obviously I'm tainted on Philly right now. And Wentz had a good game last week, chucking the football around. They got to 31. They're supposed to win and cover when they get to 31, and they couldn't do that against Miami. I don't trust them to do it against the Giants. If the Giants ever have a game where they don't turn it over, they're live to win. And this is a secondary that Daniel Jones may well be able to exploit. Giants plus.
Giants plus. I have a couple questions, and we don't have much time, but Chris Sanitate wants to know your thoughts on Bills, Ravens. Ravens open up as 5.5-point favorites. It's now 6 at 5 times Bookmaker, BetOnline, Bovada, UWager, Bet365. Still 5.5 at Pinnacle, Intertops, Heritage. This total at 43 has gone up a half point at some books. What do you think about this Ravens-Bills spot?
I'm probably not going to play it, but if I play it, can only be Buffalo. Look. Let me make this very clear. Okay, where's my freaking numbers? All right. I have Baltimore ranked now number 1. All right. They're power rated number 1 in the NFL. I have them higher than San Fran or higher than New Orleans or higher than New England or higher than Kansas City or anybody. Okay. I have them number 1 in the league. And my power rating number for this game is Baltimore 2.5. So there's a bit of a disconnect between. And when I'm this far off the market, it's both. The markets have Baltimore a point or two higher and Buffalo a point or two lower. I'm not betting against the Bills here. Not with extra time to prepare. Not with Baltimore coming off, these back-to-back huge wins. And I know it's been, the Rams on Monday night, San Fran on Buffalo or pass.
Buffalo or pass. We have some enormous games on Sunday, but we don't have enough time. Actually, why don't we just do a quick on two games that I'm really interested in. The Niners go into New Orleans. New Orleans opened up at -3.5. They're now at 3. There's 2.5s on the board. Money coming in on the Niners. This total opened up at 45.5. Now down to 44.5 or 44. What do you think of Niners Saints on Sunday?
Good game, huh?
Oh.
I mean, it really is a good NFL card this week. If I'm playing, I'm laying. I want the home team. I want the Saints with extra time. I want the Saints off. They did not play well against Atlanta, and they're not a Thursday team. And laying less than a field goal. Look, that was a crazy game against Baltimore last week, and that was physical battle in the cold. I don't want San Fran this week. This isn't their week. And Seattle just won now. All the pressure, all the Niners are must win now for the division. No. New Orleans are pass.
Patriots 3-point favorites. Actually, they opened at -3 plus 100, so it's at -106 now. A 6-cent move towards the Patriots at home. Huge AFC matchup, Chiefs-Patriots. What do you think, Teddy?
You don't get rich betting against New England at home in December. That's all I'm going to. I'm not going to play it, but I'm not, I've learned this the hard way. And maybe this is where the Patriots are finally crashing and burning. And if it is, I'm going to lose. I'm going to miss opportunities to bet against New England while they're doing that. But I'm not betting against the Patriots in this point spread range. And I think Kansas City's a better team. So it's going to be a pass for me.
Yeah, it is a tough one. It's a tricky one. Very quickly, I have the Audible today. By the way, Whale Capper will be joining us on the Audible today. It'll be Donnie Rightside, Whale Capper, and myself at 4 p.m. Eastern. What do you think? Farshad Asami is liking the over in Niners Saints. Opened at 45.5, now down to 44. Do you think we can get over that? What's your expectation of a total bet here?
That's an interesting question, total-wise. I really don't have a strong opinion. I don't know. I'm sorry. I can picture a higher scoring game and I can picture a lower scoring game. My gut reaction is these two defenses are worthy of respect.
I feel like it was such a big game the Niners played on Sunday, and I was very proud of how they played. This is going to be a tricky spot to go into New Orleans. Very tough second half schedule for the Niners. There you have it. We have broken down many a sport on this show. And with the help of Teddy Covers, we broke down college basketball, college football, and NFL, and talked about different ideologies within betting. Great stuff. Teddy Covers making moves on Louisville and UTEP in NCAA basketball, still just with Central Michigan in NCAA football. And we will continue breaking down the NCAA football card and the NFL card all week. Teddy Covers can be found here every morning on Betting with the Bag. We love having him. Please follow this man on Twitter at Teddy_Covers. Teddy, my man, thank you so much for joining us. Very rough start to the week for me yesterday, and I want to come back here with a big smile tomorrow knowing that I got it back. So thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for sharing all your insights, my friend.
Hey, that's the beauty of what we do, is that, you know what, we all, everybody has a yesterday sometimes, but the beauty of it, yesterday's yesterday. Good luck today.
There he is. Teddy Covers joining us. Follow him on Twitter at Teddy_Covers.